Boy Wonder here, and welcome to the main series of an art series, and at the same time, an art talk. So, first, I'm just gonna nominate this. Like, I'm gonna be drawing my main character, which his name is Nero, as you all know from, my recent post on IG or Twitter, if anyone follows that. Well, if anyone knows from my Twitter, I will include in the video soon. I'm not in the video soon. The description soon. This is my first time, making this kind of. I would say my first time making a video based upon me drawing. It's not as easy as I thought it would be. I mean, this is like what, my third time recording, or maybe my fourth. I don't know. It's kind of nerve-wracking because it's like you want to sound professional, but at the same time you're not professional because you're barely starting off and all that junk. So bear with me on me just rambling nervously or something like that. Right now, I'm just drawing my main character, Nero, from my series that will hopefully start soon in the upcoming year, which is called Excursion, which is I will provide in the future details about that, because right now, still in the works. Don't want to be that one guy who kind of spoils it, because just in case if it does take off, everyone's going to be like, wow, spoilers and all that stuff ahead of time. And then I'll be like, well, I hate to say it, but I should have thought of that. But no. Right now, it's my first time doing a video right now. So, again, bear with me. If I'm repeating myself, it'll be fixed in the future. I'll probably edit things out, edit things in. But for now, I'm just, drawing this kind of like, this is the most character I'm so situated with, and junk and etc. Right now, I'm just going through, the basics of, just drawing the skeleton and all that stuff of my character, and let's see, that. I mean, in a sense, I could probably make some tutorials, but I'm not really good enough to do a tutorial yet. So it's just do people want to learn from an amateur, or I mean, the way it would go would be if just to point things out. For example, what I'm just doing cat scratch, which is not good, but at the same time, I would follow the ideas structured behind my favorite artists like Kim Jong-gi, Karl Makarov, I think his name was, but I remember it was Karl, and other artists. But they gave it an idea of a automatic drawing technique, which is you just drawing whatever, just never letting go, using your imagination and let it flowing. But since I've kind of figured out the gist of how it works. I mean, it's not you can just say 1, 2 and then do 3, because there's other artists that say don't do that, don't do this. I'm not one of those artists that be like, oh, don't do this, don't do that. You do what you want to do, what suits you best. That's what most artists tell you. But if if you're doing something wrong, it's good to be taking art critique from them as well. If you have any teachers, or if you're going to any schools, etc. For me, it's just I didn't really go to any art classes for one. I'm just more of a self-taught artist. No, I'm not an artist. I'm just a guy who draws every day. Just going on around as usual. People probably sick of hearing my voice already, and just oh, dude, maybe in the future, people say hey, bro, can you just shut up in your videos and just draw? That's your art speaks for itself rather than you talking. Or maybe my talking speaks louder than my art. I don't know. We'll probably figure it out in the future. I know it's coming out pretty choppy, this art, but it's usually how it comes out before it turns into something nice that I can somewhat like. But in an instance, because I was drawing some other styles earlier as practice and all that junk, but it kind of helps just to kind of picture out these drawings before you do them and all that. Because in a sense, for me to draw from my imagination is just it's one thing, but it's hard to picture things and then just put them on paper, because they're not always how I want them to be or how most people think they would be. But for now, I'm just drawing. If it doesn't come out good, it doesn't come out good. If it doesn't come out how I think it will come out, maybe it will come out good. Maybe I'm just down and being super negative. But that's, most artists are super hard on themselves, especially what's his name? I am terrible for getting his name. Oh man, I really forgot his name. Well, anyways, just going back to the topic of here. This pretty much, these are diaries. And kind of weird calling them art diaries in a sense if you're just going to be ranting on them, So pretty much it's just going to go me just talking deliberately if people want to listen to me talk or not hear me talk. either way, they can just click out of the video or just stop listening halfway. But for me, I just want to do this for fun. I don't really care if it takes off or don't care if it doesn't. If it does, it does. I'm not going to disregard anyone who doesn't want to watch it or who does want to watch it. It's just like, it's entirely up to you. Maybe because you like hearing people's voices, you know. Maybe you don't like want to like you just use it for the background, because sometimes I do listen to videos in the background. I mean, in a sense, for me, it's just like it kind of helps, but at the same time, I'm just like, since I'm going to be doing this, I'm just going to be focusing on this and, you know, kind of like going back and forth. This is a really good brush pen, by the way. I really recommend like starting, if you're thinking about using this kind of brush pen, a Pentel brush pen, I would really suggest using this at it like now, because it's like, it's super hard to develop, because it's like this brush pen doesn't have like, you know, the fine refined lines and all that junk, and just like it can do whatever I want. It can go from skinny to like a fat line really quick, or like barely anything, smudges and all that junk. It's super, I like using this pen like a lot, because it's, for one, it just mainly makes the drawing a lot better in a sense, but at the same time it can really mess up the drawing because you just don't know how to use it, because people get afraid to use it and they just stick to pens like this kind of pen or Pigma pen and all that junk, and it's just like they just stay away from these things. And then while other people are trying to get on the pen and just say like, you know what, I'm not good with this, so I'm just gonna stick with the safety. I am same way-ish, but I'm more of like, you know what, I gotta learn now. If I suck with it, I suck with it. If I don't, I don't. Like, that's just how it is. You don't begin just automatically good, because there's many things that I'm pretty trash at. Like, the thing is, like, I like to draw since I was what, really small, like around like what, 7 years of age. And yeah, I still draw mediocre and all that stuff. I mean, there's nothing disheartening about that for me, because I did have some troubling times of drawing, and you know, you just want to like quit, and then yeah, you just have like a huge kind of, it's kind of like it's like a pathway in some kind of cliche anime. You either choose, you want to keep going and striving until you become greatness at it, or you just give up in hopes to do something else, and you know, you just fall off the edge of the earth with your own, or find a new passion. You never know, because a lot of people think they like art, but they don't, because it's like it's too hard, and then just like thinking of it as a, because most people like are perfectionists. That the thing is with perfectionists, that my friend told me, or my cousin, he's like, the thing about the thing about art is you will never stop trying to perfect it. Like, say for example, I see a messed up line here or there, it will just like, for me, it'll just eat me up, and it'll keep bugging me, and it's still there for a good minute. I'm just like, I want to fix it, and then once I go back and fix it, then I start noticing every single little detail. And once I start doing that, it's just like, oh boy, that whole thing is just, I just want to throw it away and I want to start all over. And once that happens, you just like, you're just deliberately just downing yourself at that point, and you're not really helping that situation for you. Like this one right here, like I already messed up on the eyes. That's just like, it happens. You mess up on these things. You get better, and when you notice these things, but it just takes time, patience, and effort. Because if you don't start now, or you don't do something, one of your favorite things now, it's just gonna be like, wow, when are you gonna do it? And then you start thinking you're gonna do it. You go back to it a few years later, thinking you're gonna do better at something, and then you're just like, you're hating it, and etc. etc. It just takes time and patience, especially things like art. Because personally, I don't think a lot of artists have said, and you know, like, you know, spit out, like say like, yeah, art is not like a born talent, or it is a born talent. There's some people that say yes, and there's people that say no. Like I remember seeing on Instagram, was it, like this kid had no hands, God bless the kid, I guess, and he was drawing with his feet. I was just like, dang. And he was drawing like some next level kind of picture work and all that junk. Not picture work, some art, like something like, you know, like a Renaissance artist would do. I'm just like, holy moly, dude. Like, he can draw with his feet, and I can barely draw with my hands, you know? But in the same time, you can't be always comparing yourself to everyone you see out there, because once you start doing that, you start disheartening yourself. I mean, I've seen a lot of people like compare themselves to others. It doesn't even have to be art. It has to be like something they're passionate about, and then they're like saying like people do it effortlessly, and you know, they just make people quit, you know. And they just say, and then the funnier part is like when people younger than their age, you're like, yeah, I did this when I was young, and I'm like super good at it. Like there's like 12-year-old artists that are like Picasso level, or like, you know, people that are like actually like functionally like, I can't say the word, but because I can't think of it right now because I'm trying to like multitask, which is kind of, in a sense, I'm getting better at it because it's like, to me, it just takes like a calming of the nerve. But again, this is my first video, so I'm just gonna keep repeating that. Hopefully, I'll stop repeating that crap in a minute because it's starting to get on my nerves. But either way, going back to the situation of how artists are, it's just like in most of the time it's just people just quitting halfway through, or just like, you don't want to do it because it's too hard for you, or just like, you know what, I can't do it, I need to focus on something else. Because in reality, there's things people can and can't do. I understand that, but that's where the part of determination and all that comes into play. Because you can't just be thinking constantly to yourself, "Oh, I'm going to be better at this if I just do it once," and all that stuff. Because of course, no one has that mindset of, "Oh, I'm going to do it once and do that." Everyone has well, not everyone. Most people have the concept of saying like, "Oh, I can do this, I can do that if I just keep trying." Because literally, there's a lot of people out there that keep trying and they just keep doing this. Like, you can draw a circle 1,000 times, 1,000 times you'll fail. Maybe the 1,001st time you'll get it, the 1,002nd, 1,003rd, 1,005th. You'll never know. It's just like a whole trial and error concept until you understand what you're doing wrong, or maybe you just need a specific rhythm, or figure out what you're doing is wrong or what you're doing is right, and all that junk. You feel? But on the other hand, it's just one thing to like, kind of sit yourself up for failure in a sense, because you're like, you have such high hopes for yourself, and then all of a sudden you fall from grace because you didn't want it, you didn't think you were going to do that. And the situation with that is like, I've seen that happen to so many people. Like, they're so good at so many things. Like, I remember so many artists in my high school, but they just fell off the map or something. Like, they just stopped doing it because they didn't want to give. It's either they didn't want to give it to people because people will do commissions and all that, and they're just like, you know what, I love my art too much, but like, you can always keep the original. And to go on like, side tangent of like, art and all that junk, a lot of people have to understand, like, when you're a creator of anything, you have to understand, I mean, this is my own belief, you have to understand everything takes time, and you need to understand the sacrifices behind that and what you need to do in your, like, the future, what's to come, the future, because like, there's one thing to be like, okay, I'm successful now what, maybe you didn't do this, maybe you didn't do that. Because like, in reality, for me, it's just like, I think about this stuff kind of on a daily. It's just like, oh, maybe I'm not a good artist, or maybe I'm not this, or maybe I'm not doing that, and it kind of eats me up inside, and I just don't want to keep doing these things. And you don't want to be doing that kind of stuff, because there's always a supporter out there for you, even if you don't know it. I've started to notice, like, there's a lot of, like, you may not see like someone like rooting for you out your window, with a sign like you can do it and all that stuff, but there's always going to be someone like at home, or like, maybe they don't want to like text you because they're busy as well. Maybe they don't want like bug you while you're working on your craft. No, there's someone rooting for you, even if they're not thinking about it. Like, they're rooting for you because most people want to see everyone succeed. But the thing is, we all can't, because, everyone's drive is different. We all have different drives. We have all different understandings of what to do and what not to do. The main reason, because it's like, the way we grow up and all that social junk and all that junk, because, I've seen how it works, and I wish everyone could succeed, but that's not the case, because, people just don't want to keep doing it. People will do this. Say, for example, I remember seeing something come up on Twitter. Someone was like, oh, this lady just did so many years and barely getting noticed. I was like, holy crap. In her 50s or 60s or something like that. And I saw it, I was just like, damn. Well, hopefully I won't be like that, but at the same time, I have to be patient and understand my concepts of drawing and what I do is right or do is wrong and all that junk. So I have to be wary of each line I produce, every single little detail and every single little mark. Because like, before I always like have like this little post thing where I compare myself to the past, and I see a huge growth. I wish I did this before, because you start to see huge growth, like when you start comparing your art to the past. I say, versus like, you're 12 years old and then you're still drawing to this day, like, you will see some improvement, even if you like retired from drawing or something like that. Like, I don't really know who will be watching this actually, but it really does affect anyone. It's just like, in a sense, it's just like, wow, you can really see it. Because for me, when I see my drawing, sometimes I'm just like, damn, this sucks. And then I compare it to like, yesterday's drawing. I'm like, oh, I see the difference. I see this, or what I was doing wrong. Because I don't really nitpick at myself too much, but in a sense, it's just like it helps to, realize where I'm at this certain time. But yeah, that's for today's episode of, drawing with Boy Wonder, or, I don't know what to title this yet, but it'll probably come to me in the future. So I hope you guys have a good day.